Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man, BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and super chat as always. Before we get into it, go ahead and hit that like button. And like we've been saying, there is a big announcement for XRP coming. I don't know if it is today or this week or Friday or even what the announcement is, trying to figure out what's going on. But I do think there is a big announcement coming, or actually, people have mentioned there's a big announcement coming. And plus, there is a lot of people that have timed the market and have mentioned XRP is getting ready to push. I don't know if it's the banking license or regulation. There's a lot of rumors and opinions floating around. So I don't know what you guys think, but I do think there is the mix of something happening really soon. And after the way the market looks today, I suspect XRP is going to strike while the iron is hot. But let's get to it. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and super chat. And shout out to the XRP Army. So, as always, this is Caleb and Brown. Shout out to Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown will be at the XRP Vegas. If you're listening, Caleb and Brown, it's your boy, it's your man, BTM here. Waiting for you to go ahead and send that invitation and that ticket so we can get out to Vegas XRP and rub shoulders with the XRP Army. But if not, we'll probably end up there anyway. But there is something brewing, and now would be a perfect time to go ahead and make that announcement before the conference and to kind of get the information out so people will see it and be ready. As you can see, the price is pushing up as well today. The crypto market as a whole is running, but as you can see, this is Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown's a crypto brokerage. Got off track there a little bit. They do self custody the crypto, and they'll help you along the crypto journey with a one-on-one broker. So you get the same person. So there's not a lot of questions and confusions. And they can help you out if you're new to crypto and give you a lot of advice and help when you're trying to figure out what to do and how there is any updates in major news as well. But let me know what you guys think about that. And if you guys have any idea what this new major announcement is. But thanks for joining. Shout out to all those people that signed up for Caleb and Brown. I want to play this quick video for Jake. Jake, I think, put this out a couple years ago or last year. Let's play it real quick.
What percent chance does XRP go to $1,000 in 2026? I think it'll be more than that in 2026 if everything kind of pans out the way that I think it's going to go. I know this price target sounds wildly crazy to a lot of people. We talked about dark pools. I put out a video on that the other day. We've talked about all the circumstances in which supply and demand dynamics drive price substantially higher for XRP. We've talked about the reverse carry trade and treasuries and tether and the back end of the stock market and unrealized losses and all the things that are literally set up ready to go when this thing is ready. What are they waiting on? Maybe they're waiting on a star. Maybe they're waiting on something else. I don't know what it is, but they're waiting on something, and they've stacked the deck for this thing to kick off and go to very high prices when it's time. Personally, I think very high percentage chance that it's probably higher than that in 2026. What percent chance does XRP go to $1,000 in 2026? I think it'll be more than that in 2026 if everything kind of pans out the way that I think it's going to go. I know this price target sounds wildly crazy to a lot of people.
There's a lot of good, but there's also a lot of bad. And how you look at both of those is going to help you understand whether you want to keep buying in this market or if you want to take a pause. And I get doing both of those things. I'm going to continue to hold strong because I know the technology hasn't changed. I know that the future is still going to run on blockchain and AI agents, and that's all going to require XRP and Solana and all of these things. And I know I just need to get to that point, and it's going to be up and it's going to be down a whole lot before I get to that point. And I'm here for the ride, right? I've been here before. This sucks. I feel it. I understand it, but I'm here with you. We're learning, we're growing, we're expanding our knowledge, and we are positioning. This is not supposed to be easy, right? This is supposed to be extremely difficult. If you're trying to take whatever money that you have and turn it into life-changing money, that's supposed to be a difficult journey. This is part of the journey. All right.
So shout out to Crypto Sensei, and he's right. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? So if it's hard, you know that you are on the right track. And again, just trying to see if anyone heard what this major announcement is. But if you can see the bubbles, it's been pretty much a week or so or more since there has been any updates. And I guess with the great. So I guess we will see. I guess after the State of the Union yesterday, the market bounced back. You can see there's a lot of green in the market today. World Liberty Financial is up 7.8%. SUI's up 12.7%. Ethereum Classic is up 11.3%. So I guess I made a good decision in mining or start to mine Ethereum Classic because it seems like it's going up a little bit. Might be a couple dollars there. XDC's up 3%. Ingest is up 4%. Stronghold is up 11% today. 0.6 on the hour. 5.1 on the week. Down 22.2 on the month and down 46.2 on the year. Near's up 17.4. Cardano's up 13.4. Safe is up 9%. Osmosis is up 5.8. Prime is up 3.7. Casper is up 8.4. Flare's up 7.7. Up 0.2 on the hour, up 2% on the week, down 7% on the month, and down 46.7 on the year. Filecoin's up 21.4. Solana's up 13.5. 1.7 on the hour, 7.7 on the week, 28.8 on the month, and 41.8 on the year to $88.58. XLM's up 10%. World Mobile's down 7, which is weird. Telecoin's up 10.3. Ondo's up 11.3. Gala's up 9.2. Nero's up 10.3. Litecoin's up 13.3. PIF's up 7. Caspa's up 7.7. ZK's up 7.1. BitTensor Tau is up 7.2 on the day, down 3.2 on the week, unchanged on the hour, down 22.3 on the month, and down 57.3 on the year to $182.11. Swarm is up 16.5. Bitcoin Cash is up 8.1. Link is up 15.1. Jasmine's up 7.7. POW is up 17.5. ICP is up 11.1. Nexo's up 7. XNO is up 6.5. Jupiter's up 10.2. CVX is up 12.2. Quant is up 2.3. So I'm glad I stuck with the Ethereum Classic over Quant. QOKB's up 6.3. Zcash is up 2.3 on the day, 1.2 on the hour, down 8.3 on the week, down 30.1 on the month, but still up 654 on the year. Chrono's up 6.7. Satoshi's is up 7.4. Atoms is up 2.3. Airdrone Financial is up 15.3. FET is up 9.1. AIOZ is up 9.2. Zebek, the Zebek network, ZBCN is up 8.6 on the day, up 2% on the hour, up 6.9 on the week, down 17.9 on the month, and up 35.3 on the year. So that bounced back quick. I think it was like 17 or something. Bitcoin SC is up 11%. Cubic is up 7.3. Hyperliquid is up 5.6. SQD's up 6.3. Bear is up 5.6. XCN's up 5%. Ordinai's up 9. Canton Network is up 1.2 on the day, 1.1 on the hour, down 3.8 on the week, up 8.9% on the month to 16 cents. Arbitron's up 11. AVAX up 15. XVS is up 5.5. Monero's up 5.3. BGB's up 2%. Radian is up 12.4. Dash is up 6.6. XPR is up 8.5 on the day, 1.4 on the hour, down 6.7 on the week, down 23.2 on the month, and down 55.6 on the year. And let's look at the big boys real quick. So Bitcoin is up 7% on the day. Okay. For the hour, it is up 1%. For the week, it is up 2.3%. For the month, is down 22.2. For the year, it is down 27.2 to 68,693. Might hit that 70,000 today. That would be interesting. Ethereum bounced back up 12.1% on the day, up 1.9 on the hour, up 5.2 on the week, down 29% on the month, and 21.8 on the year. HBAR is up 2.6 on the day, 1.1 on the hour, 2.6 on the week, 3.6 on the month down, and 51.7 down on the year. And of course, XRP, our favorite cross-border transaction processor, is up 7.8% on the day, 1.6 on the hour, 0.6 on the week, down 23.4 on the month, and down 40% on the year. And we are at $1.46. I think it got up to $1.50 and came back down, but it pumped hard. It's pumping hard today, right? Up 7.8%. That's what you like to see. So let me know if you guys seen anything. XRP price increase 60%, while Bollinger Bands forecast an upside to $1.50. And we are really close, right? We are right at the 147, I think it said. Where we at? Yeah, 140. Give it a second. 146.5, up 7.82%. This says 150, so I think we're gonna pass the 150 get the 150 mark soon. I just don't know. After climbing 6% to $1.44, XRP upper Bollinger Band sits near the $1.51, highlighting potential upside towards the $1.50 level on the daily chart. On February 25th, which is today, XRP climbed 6% in a single day, closing at $1.44 on Binance. Day's not over yet. What do you mean close? According to TradingView, after opening at near $1.35. This increase followed by a rough start to the year. XRP has already dropped 10.6% in January, and in addition, 13.8% in the first part of February. This significant daily increase is notable because it occurred when the key technical indicators turned positive. Where does the $1.50 for XRP prediction come from? Look at the daily chart with a Bollinger Band, a widely used tool that measures price volatility. Now show the upper band at $1.51, the middle band at $1.42, the lower band at $1.34. The price XRP closed near the middle band and pushing higher. If the buying continues, this is set up for a clear signal that the $1.50 is the next realistic target. Additionally, the 14-day RSI sits at 44.7. This remains in neutral territory, indicating a potential for further upside without the coin becoming overbought. Historically, February has been one of XRP's weakest months. Data going back to 2013 shows a median February return of negative 9.02%. However, the same data shows the average gains in March is 18.1, in April 24.8, which often follows weak February performances. For now, the focus is simple. Can XRP hold above the $1.42 and push through the upper Bollinger Band near $1.51? So the path to $1.50 will be much smoother. The next few days will be closely watched by traders as close above the $1.51 on a decent volume would confirm a shift from weakness to strength. Interesting. Moving forward, 6 AI models versus standard charters. Who's right on the XRP price? Quick read. Standard Charter cuts its XRP price target 65% from $8 to $2.80 after XRP's value dropped 43% to $1.40. 6 AI models predict XRP could finish 2026 between $3 and $10 above the Standard Charter's $2.80 target. The gap in the price forecast reflects different assumptions about the ETF flows, adoption times, and how February sell-off reverses. Are you ahead or behind on retirement? This is a commercial. XRP is down 43% since the start of 2026. The token surged to $2.40 the first week of January before reversing hard. It currently trades around $1.40, tracking towards the 5th consecutive red monthly candle, a streak not seen since 2017. The collapse of the Standard Chartered slash its XRP 2026 price prediction from $8 to $2.80, representing a 65% cut. The bank's head of digital asset research, Jeffrey Kendrick, cited the ETF outflows, tighter Fed policy, and bearish market sentiment as reasons for the revision. However, 6 models see things differently. Each one projects XRP finish in 2026 above the bank's new target. with forecasts clustering between $3 and $5, and a bullish scenario reaching $10. Why do 6 AI models remain bullish when one of the crypto's most cited banks just turned conservative? Chat GPT's base project of $2 to $5 by late 2026. Gronk, $2 to $3, grabbed headlines with a $10 target. Claudia baselines $2.15 to $3. XRPs to reach $4 to $14 if bank adoption accelerates and ETF inflows exceed 10 billion. Google Gemini if placed $3 to $4, citing liquidity constraints, competition from Solana and Stellar, and historic resistance near the $3.84. Perplexly updates the XRP forecast with real-time data, so the projections shift with momentum. Its upper range from $9 by late 2026. If the ETF inflows continue, trading volume elevated and acquired conditions scales back to $3 to $4. DeepSeek AI posts higher targets with XRP's potential reaching $8 to $10 by late 2026. If analysts emphasize Ripple's expanding on-demand liquid corridors, RLUSD stablecoin growth, and the regulatory clarity, DeepSeek weights adoption matrix heavily and discounts short-term price swings. But we'll come back to that. Let's check the numbers real quick. Currently, XRP is $1.46, up 1.61 on the hour, 7.84 on the day, down up 0.55 on the week, down 23.09 for the month, down 33.5 for the 3 months, and down 33.4 on the year. Overall, the crypto market cap is down. Really? It can't be right. Okay, I was thinking. So crypto market cap is 2.37 trillion, up 7.06%. Coin market cap 20 is $142.46, up 7.95%. Fear and greed index is still in extreme fear, and altcoin season's at a 35, so we're pulling away from the Bitcoin dominance. And I've never seen the average crypto RSI this far over. So it is all the way over to 61.46, deep in the overbought territory. So I guess there's a lot of action coming through today. This is XRP coin market cap saying $1.46, up 7.82% on the day. Market cap is 89.4 billion, up 7.82%. 24-hour trading volume is 3.49 billion, up 24.24%. XRP accumulation 6% phase, or just a relief bounce. XRP showing teeth, jumping from $3.34 to $1.42 and slicing through the 137 resistance. What's more impressive, it did it on a double the average volume to 259 million. The data tells a story. While Bitcoin ETFs struggle with the YTD negative trend, XRP seeking a clear institutional rotation. Retail surge, big volume up by 212% from the 23rd to 24th. Order book spot demand is currently crushing sales 2-1, and the ETF factor 1.1 billion in net assets since November launch. So actually, let's check that out. On the XRP ledger, it's currently 461 million, up 48.10% for the month. RWA count is 213. Represented asset value 1.4 billion, up 4.38. Stablecoin market cap 427.2 million, up 5.28. RWA holders is 22, up 10%. Stablecoin holders 35.5, up 2.69%. RWA 30-day transfers is 149.8 million, up 95.6%. Stablecoin 30-day transfer is 933.4 million, up 16.9%. Moving over to ETFs for XRP. Spot is 11.7, so we're back in business. Leverage is 19.8 million. You see here, Grayscale. Finally, somebody freaking woke up Grayscale. Grayscale is $28.11, up 5.81%. 24-hour trading volume is 8.97 mil. Let's go, Grayscale. So you already know I did pick up a couple of Grayscale's ETFs. Just for closure or disclosure, Bitwise is $16.22, up 6.25, 3.43 million. Franklin Templeton is $15.73, up 5.97% to 2.22 million. Canary Capital is $15.41, up 6.15, with 1.22 million in 24-hour trading volume. So as you can see, ETF volume is swarming, right? Folks are swarming to ETFs. This is the best I've seen it in the last 2 weeks. Rex Offspray is up 6.5% to $11.88. Daily volume 604K, 21 shares, $13.25 unchanged. 2K in 24-hour trading volume. That's weird. Volatility shares. Wow. For leverage derivative trade is $2.47, up 12.73% to 9.4 mil. Turkin 2X is 12.95% to $4.72, 7.46 million. Volatility shares is $8.27, 6.79%, 1.58 million. Pro shares is up 12.72% to $4.52, 1.28 million. Amplify is up 4.92 to 15.76 to 57,000. And over to the XRP radar. On the radar, looks like escrow is 36.9 billion. Circulating supply is 63 billion. XRP burnt is 14.3 billion. Just want to refresh this real quick. Nothing changed. RLUSD is 1.56 billion. On the exchanges is 14.17 billion. ETFs and indexes is up to 792.2 million. I think it was like 5 or 6 last couple days. DeFi is 197.5 million. Tokenized RWA is 1.5 billion USD, and the treasury is 473.3 million. Going over to the exchanges, looks like Upbit added 1.1 million to 38.1% of the total supply. Binance doesn't look like much happened, 16.2%. BitThumb lost 1.8 million to 12.7. Uphold added 5K to 11.6. Uphold's catching up. Uphold's going to be in number 3 soon if BitThumb drops and Uphold keeps going up. Or less than a whole percent behind. BitBank dropped 848K to 4%. CoinCheck's 3.9. eToro's down 15,000 to 3.4. Crypto.com added 1.3 million. I can see crypto to 2.3%. Coin one is 2.2%, lost 218K. And Bitflyer lost or added 117K to 1.3%. So going over to X. On X, let's see here. This is rumor. Ripple execs post 4 aces. Is this a hint at the Ripple Bank charter? Ripple's Luke Judges just posted a poker image showing 4 aces, the strongest hand in the game. And poker, 4 aces means you basically won. No one beats you. 4 aces, best possible outcome, major regulatory win. What do you guys think about that? What do you think the 4 aces is? That's the big part of the announcement today. What the freak is going on with XRP? Update. XRP may need one final flush to the 0.78 or 78 cents before the road to 200. While short-term charts show key support at $1.11, the deep targets near 80 cents. Some micro analysts believe this could be the reset before the historic expansion. According to somebody, XRP could drop to 78 cents in a final shakeout before launching into potential micro move towards $13 and eventually $200 in a full cycle extension. Historical EMA retests since 2018 have led to steep declines followed by an explosion upward. Senate Democrats meeting this afternoon on Clarity Act. Stablecoin yield negotiations between banks and crypto firms have reportedly stalled again. White House March 1st deadline is approaching fast. Turn that heater back on. More to come. Keep you updated. With stablecoin issues winding down, focus will start shifting back to lingering concerns over DeFi and ethics. 2 points likely to be discussed at the Senate Democratic member meeting on market structure this afternoon. XRP jumped 6% on the Bollinger Band, now signaling a potential move to $1.50. Price climbed to $1.44 as technical indicators flipped. With the upper Bollinger Band near $1.51, traders are watching closely a breakout confirmation on volumes. Can XRP push through resistance and continue the trend? And we literally just read that. What is this? Don't forget to join the BTM Crypto News Network to stay current on events. If you're shaky on XRP right now, remember this. Ripple's National Trust Bank Charter was conditionally approved by the OCC. That direct access to millions of Americans, the demand follows will be explosive. It's near, I feel it. And that's the Ripple National Trust Bank. It's coming, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, it is coming. XRP showed a strong bounce today, but the question remains, is this the start of a lasting rally or simply a dead cat bounce? Short-term relief rallies are common after sharp sell-offs. Watch volume and key resistance levels to confirm real trends continuations. Multiple sources report Ripple's U.S. bank trust license is set for approval by Friday, February 27th. Please and thank you. Crypto price prediction today, February 24th, which is yesterday. I'm not going to go into that. That was actually yesterday. XRP price faces short-term computation risk as whales dump Binance. That must have been yesterday as well. Crypto news and brief Wednesday, February 25th. ETF inflows turned positive. Crypto spot ETFs saw fresh inflows on the 24th. Bitcoin 257 mil won. Ethereum 9.2 mil won. Solana 3.7 mil won. XRP 3 mil won. Capital is quietly rotating back into the majors, especially Bitcoin. When ETFs attract money, usually institutions, not retail. South Korea targets crypto influencers. The ruling party has proposed a bill requiring influencers to disclose crypto holding and pay promotions. Transparency is becoming law, not courtesy. Expect stricter global marketing standards to follow. Bitcoin ATM face tighter rules. Bitcoin's depot will now require ID checks at its cryptos. ATM's compliance is tightening across the board. The Wild West narratives continue to fade. Ethereum dominance, who cares? Bitcoin gets ready for a real stable coin. Banca Brazil has launched Brazil's real stable coin, BBRL, on Polygon. Emerging markets moving fast. Stablecoins are becoming infrastructure, not experience. Bitcoin adoption 2 to 23 nations. Bitcoin's expanding from 2 nation states to 23, with 5 new countries joining in 2025 alone. Brazil, Czech Republic, Luxembourg, Saudi Arabia, and Taiwan. The sovereign gain is accelerating quickly. Senate alum on the Clarity Act. Under the Clarity Act, the bank and credit unions can grow by adopting Bitcoin and digital assets. Washington is no longer debating if, but how. Kathy Wood's AI will cut inflation. ARK Invest predicts AI will drive productivity boom, lift GDP, and lower inflation over time. Even if markets wobble short term, if true, that's structurally bullish for risk assets. Solo mining wins the Bitcoin lottery. A solo mined a block, earning 3.12 Bitcoin. Rare, but proof that decentralized is still alive. Coinbase blurs the lines. Coinbase launches 24/50 commission stock trading for eligible U.S. users. Stocks to crypto now sit in a portfolio. Finance is merging. Meta stablecoin returns. Reports suggest Meta may re-enter the stablecoin in H2 2026 with third-party integration and a new wallet. Big tech isn't done with the digital money. Arizona moves toward a digital asset reserve, a bill establishing state-level digital asset reserves has cleared committee and heads to Senate floor. U.S. state competition is heating up. Crypto in 2026 isn't chaos, it's consolidation. Institutions are allocating, governments are legislating, banks are integrating, big tech is circling back. The rails are being built while the headlines distract your daily snapshot. I need to follow these guys. But yes, I think I mentioned that several times that these guys are definitely going, must be already following. These guys are definitely going to circle back. And we did see that out of all that information, all the FUD appears that they're running back to crypto like we knew they would. Whisker Wire 3-day outlook. Dodge up 5%, Solana up 9%, Cardano up 9%, XRP up 5%. Interesting. You can check it out on my page. XRP hunting liquidity clusters. XRP is sitting heavily near resistance. Massive liquidity clusters are stacking up at the equal highs. Big player hunt these zones to fill orders. Forget the news, watch the tape. 2 ways to play this: break and retest. If resistance snap heavy volumes, we bid. If sweep, the price hits swaps above highs that rejects. It's a trap. Short it back into the range. Setups don't need to be flashy. Structure pays the bills, keeps invalidate tight. We wait for the break or fake out. Okay. Boom. XRP Ledger launches bank focused DEX. New decentralized exchange tailored to banks launched on the XRP Ledger. So if you haven't been following this, it's a whole lot of shit happening on the XRP Ledger, boosting institutional infrastructure and real world utility. So the XRP Ledger is moving, right? Every day. Massive. Ripple will be the first crypto company that will transform into a national trust bank. Shout out to Levi. Ripples has built an empire. The Ripple Prime, the G Treasury, the Rails, the Palisade, the Treasury, the stablecoin, the liquidity, and the custody. XRP volume explodes across major exchanges, up 83% on Upbit, 68 on Binance, and 34 on Coinbase. XRP's trading activity just spiked hard in the last 24 hours. At the same time, XRP open interest is climbing. Historically, when OI raises, what is OI? Prices tend to follow the same structure shortly after. What is OL? XRP has been explosive increase in trading volume across major exchanges, signaling a renewed investor interest in momentum. BlackRock is reportedly preparing to launch a massive asset token partnership with Ripple on the XRP ledger. Could BlackRock soon file for an XRP ETF? If so, it's going down. The 327,000 price surge wasn't a glitch. It was perceived as a network capacity stress signal. XRP ledger continues to draw attention amidst growing 650 trillion capital inflow narrative around February 28th, which is Saturday. A notable milestone approaches as real tokens prepare for its listing on the BTCC exchange February 28th. Under 4 days remain. Global XRP ledger adoption trillions will cause the DeFi surge past $800 on exactly 25th XRP real token. Let's see, is this English?
In space, Louise Yamada say, the bigger the base, the higher in space. The bigger the base, the higher in space. The bigger the base, In my view, you have to have people start using that XRP, that Ripple currency, in substitute for foreign currency, but that's the utility. That's the use case for Ripple, the currency. If that's the case, then that's a pretty nice base right there. Then that's a pretty nice base right there.
Should we invite BK?
Oh, come on. Have to.
All right, come on over.
The image is bad, but the message is clear, right? When they start using it, the base is going to explode. XRP update. Deutsche Bank 1.6 million assets integrates the Ripple rails for cross-border payments, FX workflows, and digital custody. 3 European banks totaling 3.4 trillion on Ripple's infrastructure this month. Dubai Land Department launches phase 2. 7.8 million tokenized property tokens now tradable on the XRPL secondary market, targeting 16 billion in tokenized real estate by 2033. XRPL total RWA value hits 2.3 billion to 1.3 billion of the added in 2026 alone, already surpassing all of 2025. 3 on-chain signals that produced the November 2024 XRP rally. 50 cents to $3.40 have reappeared. Exchange inflows, USD liquidity compression, XRP liquidity compression, White House stablecoin yields debate heats up. Ripple has a seat at the table for Washington clarity deadline. Price to $1.33 to $1.36. Rails being built while market sleeps. Stay sharp. The kind of catalyst markets run front. Okay. I guess let's get to a couple of videos. We're running out of time. So this is
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Happy Wednesday, halfway through the week, 3 more days until the final month of Q1 kicks off. Check it out. Something big might be coming from Ripple. An XRP, it could react very fast. A Ripple executive posted that picture. You remember it, 4 aces. I've been thinking about it. I've been dreaming about it. 4 aces. One of the strongest hands in poker. Not the strongest hand. I saw all your comments. Thank you. When insiders start dropping these cryptic signals like this, it usually means something is brewing behind the scenes, right? But here's the crazy part. If what people thinks that this means is true, this could be one of the biggest Ripple developments we've seen in years. And guess what? It lines up perfectly with what's happening in the broader financial system right now. Stay with me, because the dots, they start connecting fast. In the markets, we got a nice little green bump up last night. Let's see if we can hold through it today. We're going to touch on the markets in a second and where we're going and what I think is about to play out. So here's the picture. Luke Judges. He posted a poker image showing 4 aces. Pretty generic, pretty random, if you ask me. Normally, coming from anyone else that doesn't work for Ripple, that's not sitting inside these meetings, it means nothing. But Ripple insiders, they rarely post random things, especially not symbolism like this. 4 aces, I mean, it practically means you already won, right? The game is basically over. And that has people asking one big question. Is Ripple preparing a major announcement? I've been here 9 years. And I have noticed a very similar pattern. It used to come from David Schwartz. Sometimes Brad Garlinghouse, maybe like once every 4 years, would post something. But it's usually Schwartz who did it. And when he posted his little cryptic pictures cryptic images. Usually within the next couple of days, an announcement came out, and Ripple loves making their announcements on Thursday for some reason. What could it be, though? Possibly a bank charter? Think about this for a second. Ripple already has payment infrastructure, which is used by financial institutions. They already have the liquidity technology. They got the custody solutions. They have, excuse me, they got stablecoin infrastructure with RLUSD. Let me get a sip of my coffee here. And they have institutional partnerships worldwide. What's the one missing piece? Direct banking access. If Ripple ever attains something close to a bank charter or trust level banking permissions, they wouldn't just be partnering with banks anymore. They would become part of the banking system itself. And then suddenly XRP, it becomes your settlement liquidity. It becomes your bridge asset. It becomes your on-demand liquidity, and it becomes the go-to choice for your institutional rails. And all of this, it happens under one roof. That's the kind of announcement that could move XRP extremely fast. And here's what's interesting, because the timing of this rumor, image, whatever we want to call it, it lines up with something massive happening in global liquidity. But don't forget, before we get into that, Crypto.com, they just received their National Trust Bank Charter, the approval, conditional approval. We asked Grok, are they ahead of Ripple here? Or are they behind? They are 2.5 months behind what Ripple is trying to do. Interesting, right? Now, let's talk about my partner real quick, iTrust Capital. If you're not a partner with iTrust, I don't know what you're waiting for. Premium custody, love it. No monthly fees, the same institutional holdings that BlackRock is using. Remember, this does not go through iTrust. iTrust is just the platform. Coinbase and Fidelity would be the institutional holdings here. That is exactly who BlackRock uses for their institutional holdings. This is the only way you will ever get access to institutional custody, and for free. You use my link, you get $100 when you fund your account. Link is down below. Check it out, folks, especially if you plan on holding for the next 5, 10, 15, or even 50 years. But let's talk about this. I don't see anyone speaking on this. We got a $12 trillion liquidity wave. Right now, the US Treasury, they are preparing something enormous over the next several months. The Treasury plans roughly 122 T-bill auctions. These are short-term government debt. Now, if you don't know what a T-bill is, the easiest way I can compare it for you so you understand it, think about it like a CD from your bank account or from your bank, right? Your bank gives you a CD, but your CD, it has lockup periods. So you can get a CD for 3 months, 6 months, or even a year, right? But you have to hold that money in the CD for that time frame that you agreed to, or you forfeit those losses. And it's a locked-in rate. Treasury bills are the same thing, but there's no locked-in rate on them. I'm a big fan of T-bills because CDs, if you lock it up for a year, you need that money for before a year, an emergency happens, you're screwed. You forfeit over what you would have gained. T-bills come and go as you please. So what are they trying to do here? 4-week bills, 6-week, 8, 13, 17, 26, and 52-week bills. When you total it up and we look at the liquidity, the short-term liquidity, we're looking at $12.2 trillion. This is an insane amount of capital movement. And what do markets usually do? Markets tend to follow liquidity, right? Always. When liquidity expands, risk assets usually follow. Stocks move, crypto moves, and altcoins tend to move even more. This is exactly the kind of environment where major infrastructure announcements occur, like a Ripple banking move. could hit the market at the exact perfect time. Let's call it what it is. Liquidity is the fuel, and speculation, that's your spark. But here's where things get even more interesting. Wiz is like, look, it is time to accumulate your favorite internet coins. Returns will be glorious for some projects. Right now, and I've spoken about this, we're in that window. It looks like we may be entering one of the moments in the cycle where markets quietly form a local bottom, where Bitcoin stabilizes, where fear peaks, where sentiment gets negative, and then something changes. Historically, when Bitcoin finds supports, altcoins often outperform, and they don't do it slowly, they do it fast. And the projects with real infrastructure narratives, they tend to lead the move. This is the phase where smart money's been accumulating, and they've been doing it quietly before the headlines arrive, before retail returns, before the hype train hits. This is when people start positioning into their favorite, as Wiz calls them, internet coins. Because if this cycle behaves anything like the previous ones, we're about to see a beautiful rally here. And you know what? XRP has one of the biggest narrative catalysts building behind it right now. Now, I told you I believe that Bitcoin would find a local bottom in the $60,000 range. If this truly is our local bottom that we hit, I believe it was around 63,000, I would expect a move to the upside for Bitcoin targeting your $80,000 region, which would give it roughly what? 63 into the 80s, about 30 to 40% move to the upside. I would expect altcoins to outperform it. I would expect your major altcoins that got beaten down to outperform it. You already see Solana's up over 8.4%. You see ETH's up over 5%. You're starting to see that pattern I've been talking about. Altcoins being up a higher percentage than Bitcoin. That is what I'm paying attention to. And let's talk about this. Vitalik selling versus XRP's escrow double standard. Just in the last couple of days, Ethereum's founder, Vitalik Buterin, he sold over 4,300 ETH, around $8 million worth. No one in crypto seems to care. No one in crypto seems to have said anything. No panic, no outrage, no headlines. But when Ripple releases XRP from a time-locked escrow every single month, and we know it's coming for the next years on years on years, the crypto crowd goes crazy. All you instantly hear, Ripple's dumping, XRP inflation, inflation gate, centralization. But Vitalik openly sells millions of dollars worth of ETH, and it's basically ignored. Here's the difference. Ripple, their escrow releases, they're public, they're pre-programmed, they're predictable, they're transparent. Vitalik selling, it happens whenever he chooses. Maybe he got a little inside wager going with himself. If he sneezes before his feet hit the floor in the morning, he's going to dump ETH. And the more sneezes that come out before those feet hit the floor, the more ETH he's going to.
So shout out to the Philippines. Sorry about that, Mike. I literally forgot. Mike and Venus, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining. Watching. What time is it in the Philippines? I think IO means open interest. It might be right there, Mike, as well. Let's finish this video and keep it pushing.
If Ripple is really preparing this major announcement, like the 4 aces hints suggest, that narrative could flip here very fast. Because if Ripple moves closer to the banking system, XRP stops looking speculative and it starts looking like the safest bet around. So I want you to start watching closely. Take in that 4 aces post. What do you think about that? Comment down below. What do you think about this liquidity wave? the market cycle timing. So could something big be approaching? And if Ripple does reveal something huge, XRP might not just wait around. It could react fast. And most people, they won't see it coming until it's already happening. I hope you enjoyed, everyone. As always, hit that thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed. I'll see all y'all 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So shout out to I think that was Crypto Sensei keeping it moving. I think this is Stock Mo.
We are closing in on the last day/hours before the March 1st deadline that President Trump has given the crypto industry, the banking industry,
Over the years,
all
I think
those involved, and they are looking for a grand bargain. Oh, there's rumors flying aplenty. And the other thing, hey, it's good, it's bad. Everybody is trying to drive this market with their FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Some of it up, some of it down. And if you've been here, you know we've seen a little bit of everything. And last night was no exception. Oh, one of the biggest events out there that can move markets. We're talking about the State of the Union. Of course, the State of the Union. Anybody looking for anything, they had poly market on what, all kinds of different things I could see. People were going to say what was said, what wouldn't be said, all that and more. And of course, here we are. We're at another day closer to that March 1st deadline. And
XRP holders, is crypto liquidity about to go?
Not? If we do, is it going to be fantastic? Is there going to be agreement between the Republicans and Democrats that the country needs to be the capital of the world for crypto? I think we all know we do have to be, but can they get it done? And it would be one of the few things we could see that the left and the right could work together to get across that bridge and make.
Is saying that the reason why the crypto market fell back in 2022 is because of one of the biggest algo companies out there, that there have been claims that they are doing some shenanigans with the price of crypto. We'll talk about that as well. And we have something interesting coming out of the UK, the United Kingdom, and CEO of JP Morgan saying some very interesting things about the market. What is his hidden agenda from that? And of course, we have some nuggets from President Trump's State of the Union as well. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile to send out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button. Yesterday morning, you guys were very, very successful. We beat the 1,000 likes on the video, and XRP is up today. So I'm just going to leave that on the table. You do with that information what you want. I'm just saying, right? Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.38, up 2.5% on the day. Bitcoin is sitting at 65,000. Ethereum is at 1,900. Solana at 82. For the most part, the crypto market is in the green today. Interestingly, there isn't anything too critical that's coming out from any financial data, anything like that today. And those are sometimes the most trickiest days because the market isn't sitting and waiting for a specific hour. And then President Trump could say something tariff-wise, Iran-wise, and the market could start with its shenanigans. And we also have that 10 a.m. for sell-off that we've seen recently. So we need to take all those things into consideration, just day things, short-term things to take into consideration. We did see, though, the crypto fear and greed index come back to double digits. So we haven't been in double digits since the 17th of February. So we're back into that. So it seems that the fear has a little bit subsided from the crypto market. And we'll see potentially what that could mean for the crypto market in the next coming days. Does this mean that we have finally hit the bottom here? Maybe, maybe not. Again, as always, I just want to remind you that this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, and not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. So this has been making a lot of hoopla on X, Twitter, saying Treasury's $2 billion debt buyback stirs crypto liquidity hopes. Right now, crypto liquidity is pretty weak, right? A lot of assets went into silver and gold when silver and gold were pumping precious metals. The stock market is doing very, very good, although many stocks are coming down. If you look at the indexes, they're still very, very high, but many stocks are down, right? It's because of the magnificent seven: Amazon, Meta, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, that all have been holding up the market. Nvidia has earnings today, so actually that could be something that might rock the market. So again, we have to take that into consideration as well. That's the only thing that maybe the market is going to be waiting to see what happens there. Although last time we looked at it, and if I remember correctly, the earnings from Nvidia didn't really affect the crypto market. But there is always that possibility that something like that does happen. So you need to take that into consideration. But potentially we could see a buyback expected to be of $2 billion from $25 billion in offers on securities with maturities up to early 2026. Part of routine cash management to smooth debt peaks and bill auction. Optimists compared the Treasury plan trillions in gross T-bill issuance, most referring 6.6 trillion in maturing bills, to the pandemic-era quantitative easing, predicting Bitcoin surge like its run from 4,000 to 69,000. Skeptics clarify it's not new money, but borrowing existing funds for a 1.9 trillion deficit, with net borrowing far smaller at hundreds of billions quarterly. And you can see here, this was from Marty Party, talking about the U.S. Treasury T-bill auction schedule totals 2.2 trillion short-term liquidity to be issued. And you can see the whole technical thing, what's exactly is going to happen and how it's going to be distributed. And you have here Mark that is getting excited. He says, oh, if this is true, something biblical is about to happen to crypto. This is saying 12.2 trillion in short-term bills hitting the system in 6 to 7 months. For comparison, the COVID QE was 4.8 trillion over 2 years. This would be 2.5 bigger in a fraction of time. But again, it's not exactly QE, but we'll see. The difference, there's a few differences between what happened back then. Remembering you. Reminding you, English is my second language. So if, my grammar is subpar, I think I get a pass, right? That back in the day, right, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, interest rates were basically zero, right? And right now, interest rates are still high, okay? That's the big difference. Back in 2017, when the market ran as well, it was about 1%, 1.5%. We're around 3% right now, or 3.5%. So we're still a significant ways away from getting to that, 3.5, right now. We're in a big, that's about 2.5% from where we were. And that's a significant amount of value that, or not value that is reduced from the potential there, right? Because if someone's coming and they're saying, okay, I'm going to take out $1 million, invest it in the crypto market, I'm only paying 1% interest rate, right? Great. But now if he's paying 3% interest rate or 4% interest rate or 8% interest rate, right? Depending on the bank and whoever you're taking the money from, then he has to get a much higher return than previously, right, to cover that interest rate cost. And so people are less likely to taking quote unquote those I don't want to use that word of free stuff, free M's, right, free Benjamins, because It's not free, of course, but when it's less expensive, people are more inclined to take out the money, right? And so you'll see more retail come in. You'll see more institutions that are also taking out big loans. And yes, the government might be injecting liquidity into the market, but I wouldn't, take this as the catalyst that will move the market significantly. Maybe. I still think that we might, be in for a bumpy ride here. But if this is what starts the ball rolling, I will be very, very happy. Okay, but we have to take into consideration, what's happening here. Chad tweeted, and we just rooted out Jane Street years of manipulating the market down unnaturally. The crypto market is going okay. There is the story of Jane Street. We'll get to in just a second. You know what I want? What am I going to do here? Okay, let's go with this first, and then we'll get to Jane Street. Interestingly, we've talked a lot about the stablecoin situation in the U.S. and the Clarity Act, and stablecoin yields, and we're talking about a lot about the United States of America, right? But the U.S., although 60% of you are from the U.S., there's a significant amount of other people around the world and a lot of money out there, and other countries and their regulations. Well, now Coinbase is going after the UK, saying stablecoin rules in the UK are being finalized and are at risk of preventing the UK from being globally competitive in the digital economy. For example, the Bank of England is proposing a cap on stablecoin holdings for individual or businesses. The UK has a long history of being a financial hub, embracing and encouraging innovation, especially when other countries are moving fast here. It's important that for maintaining that, the current direction of the rules does the opposite and will act as an innovation blocker. This is why, and maybe they'll fix this, maybe they won't, but this is why there's so much, riding on the Clarity Act, because the US has to be the hub here. Right? We'll get to President Trump in just a second. But if the US is not the hub of the crypto market, then it's going to be very hard for the crypto market to elevate itself in the next 5 to 10 years. And it needs to come from the US. It can come also from UAE, it can come also from Singapore and from East Asia. But the most money sits in the US, right? The big companies, the mega stuff, it all sits in the US. And so it's very important that the US has clear regulation, that the US has a clear guideline, and that people know what's happening, right? So those of you that live in the UK, I know about 10, 15% of our viewership is from the UK. What do you think about this, right? Is this good? Is this bad? What do you think of the government right now in the UK and what they are doing? Now, this is an interesting quote from Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan. We've talked a lot about Mr. Dimon previously on the channel here, for better or for worse, right? He's kind of flipped on how he sees the crypto market. He was very anti, and now he's opening up a little bit, his heart to the crypto market. We've seen, of course, BlackRock CEO that has done a total 180. Jamie has done maybe a 90 degrees turn, right? But he's coming out with this quote. He says he's starting to see parallels to the era before 2008 financial crisis. And I just saw yesterday a tweet that the Google searches for "I can't sell my house" or something like that has hit a high of the past 10, 15 years, meaning that the housing market is getting problematic in the US. Again, a long period of time of high interest rates, of high inflation. And so you're getting into this crunch, right? Now, will we see a financial crisis? I don't know, right? Could Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan have an interest here because they might be short, right, on the market? Could be, right? This is not the first time that we've heard a big financial institution come out with a statement like this. And then, in 6 months later, a year later, apparently they were short on the market, or they were short on specific avenues of the market. This is one of the oldest tricks in the book, creating fear, coming out with these kinds of headlines, because he's not saying I'm buying this, I'm doing that. He's just, saying, it's similar indicators or similar factors are seeming similar to a bad time, right? And when he does that, it creates fear. When it creates fear, you know what happens, right? We know what happens. So this is a very interesting situation. And again, maybe we go into a financial crisis, maybe we don't. And this is all up in the air. You have to be ready for all the types of situations. Now, President Trump, he had the State of the Union last night. And I don't know, let me know in the comment section, because the videos in the morning are doing okay. Like, okay, they're not, September numbers, right, where we were getting 20, 30,000 views, but they're doing okay, 10,000, maybe 12,000 views. And then I do the evening videos and they get like 3,000, 4,000 views. So is it just because you guys prefer me in the morning, there's less videos to watch? Or is it something with the algorithm? Maybe I need to move it later into the night, or there's more competition. I don't know. But we talked about, were you watching the State of the Union last night? I know on the East Coast, there's a lot of snow right now, but then that would mean that you guys are at home in your houses and maybe you're watching TV and not YouTube. I don't know. But there was the State of the Union last night. Let me know in the comment section. Why do you think there's such a difference, right? It's a 4x difference between the amount of views. Like, what's going on there? Okay, back to the program. He says, we are winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we are winning too much. We can't take it anymore. Ay, Mr. President, you're so hilarious sometimes. There's tons of clips, regarding a lot of stuff from the State of the Union. I'm not going to get into all the political stuff. There's a lot of did they stand, did they not stand, and all that. Did they clap, did they not clap? But it's always an interesting situation when President Trump gives a State of the Union. And did that, it didn't really say anything regarding Iran, really. But what I'm reading today on in the news here is that they're not liking, or they're thinking that there might be high probability now for a deal and not for a attack. We'll see. Again, this could be all a false flag. We saw this previously. We're like, oh yeah, we're close. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. They put down their guard and then, right? So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that will be very interesting. Now for dessert, I want to talk about this. Do you remember back in 2022, there was something called the Terra Luna crash. And people were very interested in it. The channel got a lot of views back then on those videos talking about that situation. And now it's coming out that Terra Labs is actually putting out a lawsuit against Jane Street. So remember the Jane Street that we talked about, that the algo firm that potentially is manipulating the market again. We don't know if it's them. We see some things that are very, very suspicious at certain times, but we don't know if it's actually Jane Street. Now they're saying that they enjoyed impossible insider advantage amid the 40 billion Terra collapse, according to the lawsuit, right? On Tuesday, the administrator overseeing Terraform Labs, winding down, filed a lawsuit against the high-powered, high-frequency trading firm Jane Street and its co-founder and two employees named. They are saying that they allege that Jane Street used material non-public information to profit from the collapse. So actually, I have it in a tweet. One second. So according to this, in mid-April 2022, Terraform announced that Anchor's 20% yield would start declining. Anchor was the main reason user held UST. One, that yield started falling, demand for UST weakened. At the same time, Terraform was moving UST liquidity to a new curve pool. When liquidity is reduced, large sell orders have a much bigger impact price. On May 8th, 2022, Terraform withdrew 150 million UST from Curve's main 3 pool. And exactly 9 minutes later, Jane Street sold 85 million UST in a single trade in that same pool, the largest ever. The lawsuit says this trade triggered a massive crash, and within a few days, UST literally went to zero. Lawsuits also state that Jane Street was in direct contact with Duquan during this crisis and discussed buying BTC or Luna at heavy discounts, possibly $200 to $500 million. Bitcoin is relevant because Terraform was using Bitcoin reserves to defend UST's peg. As UST broke, those reserves had to be deployed. access to insider information about those conditions would have been extremely valuable. If these allegations are true, the sequence is very clear. First, insider knowledge about reduced liquidity in the curve pool. Second, a large 85 million USD sale into that thinner liquidity, which would naturally push price down faster and deepen the crash. Third, as UST rapidly lost its peg and Terraform entered full crisis mode, the company was forced to deploy its Bitcoin reserves to try to stabilize the system. At the same moment, Jane Street was in discussion to step in and buy Bitcoin or Luna at heavy discounts. Who would have thought that the same entity responsible for the potential or alleged 10 a.m. manipulation orchestrated the 2022 crypto bear market? And I wouldn't be surprised if we wake up in about a year or so or 2 years from now, and they have something to do with or someone similar to them have something to do with the situation from October 10th. And the whole wind down here of Bitcoin is all a result of October 10th and selling pressure that has happened because of the fact that someone big imploded on October 10th or had to use significant reserves to cover October 10th losses. And now they have to repay that and they continue to liquidate their assets. We might learn this in 6 months, a year from now. There is supposed to be a Zach XPT, right? So I don't know if you guys know him. He's like the crypto guru around scams and frauds that go and happen in the crypto market. And he says that a major investigation is dropping on February 26th on one of crypto's most profitable businesses, where multiple employees abused internal data to insider trade over a prolonged period of time. So what does this mean? Who is it going to be? And how is this going to affect the market once this expose comes out? I don't know if I'm following out. I'm going to follow and turn on notifications there, and so we can know when this expose comes out, and then we'll cover it and see exactly what happened here. And it will be very interesting. Again, by the way, the scammers in the comment section have popped up again. I will never ask you weird questions, and I will never contact you on social media. There's a new. I need to do a sweep of all social media and report all these accounts. Was funny. I'm using a contact here in the police to block or remove on Facebook, because Facebook has a really bad mechanism for reporting these fake accounts. And I actually refiled the report, a new report. They told me last time, a few months ago, next time file a new report. Anyway, they blocked my personal account too. They just blocked everything. And so I was like, hey, they blocked me too. And then of course, a few hours later, they have a contact in Facebook that opened it. But we're just funny that you have to go through this third part. I have to go through. Anyway, the platforms that I can report them, I report. If you see an account contacting you or asking you questions about your trading or something like that, those are fake accounts. It's not me. It's somewhere, I don't know where around the world where they sit. And so just report them. Don't interact with them, or raise a flag to me on Twitter or somewhere else. So just be very careful out there. Okay. Don't forget to smash the like button. Check out the links in the description down below. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Smash the like button. Don't forget. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.
So that was Moneymaker. We'll go to, who is this? What is this? In Cash. See what he has to say about the XRP holders, and we'll close it down after that. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, don't forget to sign up and super chat. So let's get to it.
I pretty much heard every single excuse why not to buy XRP, why you should not even be looking at XRP, why you should not be supporting Ripple and XRP. And again, I feel like the same points are constantly being brought up. Oh, XRP is centralized. XRP is a scam. Ripple is using XRP for revenue. That's it. And I feel like people don't do any research beyond just like the face value of things. Over the last couple years, I've been watching XRP, and if we go back to like 2021 or even 2020, let's just go back to 2024, right? 2 years ago, it's completely different. Like the entire environment around XRP is so different, and that's because of all of the major announcements, all of the major moves. Let's not forget, right? We go back to the whole idea of, the case being dropped. The SEC case is now out of the picture. So when we think about XRP today compared to a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, XRP is so different. Now, all of those arguments around how XRP is centralized, it's this, it's that, they're all ridiculous statements. It's very easy today, and if we're looking at this on the long-term view, it's very easy today to get shaken out of XRP. Just one of the most simple things to look at is the fact that XRP is at the most oversold level since going back to the FTX lows and basically the 2022 bottom of the market. So, again, selling today would be equivalent to selling here. I don't think if we zoom out, anyone would have been selling there knowing that this awaited them. And although, yeah, you might be looking at this and saying, well, you know what? I had to wait well over, 800 days or so just to get to that point. And I don't care if I have to wait 1,000 days. If I am expected to make money off of an investment, and maybe it has to take 800 days, I am totally fine with it. But the main thing that I'm looking at here is that everyone is fudding XRP at this moment, and it's very easy as a retail investor to get shaken out because things are down in a big way. I mean, XRP from its prior highs is currently down about 60%. The total loss here was about 68, almost 69%. So if we're thinking about this logically, yeah, very easy to be bearish today. Well, let's go over a few things. So let's start off with this post that I saw on the 21st. Again, this is from Sentiment. It's just analyzing the on-chain data. XRP has seen its largest on-chain realized loss spike since 2022. Again, like I said, bottom signals. When the previous weekly milestone of negative 1.93 billion in realized losses occurred 39 months ago, XRP proceeded to jump 114% over the next 8 months. Like I said, this is where you want to be watching XRP closely. Significant realized losses happen when a large number of investors sell their coins at a price lower than what they originally paid. This usually coincides with fear taking over. When traders panic and capitulate, they lock in their losses instead of holding and hoping for a rebound. While this feels negative in the moment, it can actually be an important price signal. If many weak hands have already sold, there may be fewer sellers left to push prices lower. In simple terms, a wave of heavy realized losses can mean that much of the damage has already been done. Historically, large spikes in realized losses often show up near market bottoms. This is because extreme fear tends to peak before price does. When sellers are exhausted, even a small amount of new buying pressure can push prices higher. That does not guarantee an immediate rally, but it does increase the odds and the probability of a bounce. Watching realized profit and loss data can help identify moments when emotions are stretched to extremes. Markets often move in the opposite direction of the crowd, and major realized loss spikes are one way to measure when that emotion or emotional tipping point may be happening. Now, I do think that we are at that point. I mean, listen, this market has been down only for months on end. And I just look at XRP and where we're really kind of at. And I don't know. I feel like we are at the bottom here. I would be very surprised if we start to lose $1, go down to like 90 cents, like I said in a previous video. However, we still need to be, just very cautious because although, yeah, we're seeing a nice jump today, it's questionable on if it's going to last because we still have a lot of resistance up here at around like roughly $1.51. So until we start to break over those levels, we can't be so quick to say, all right, well, that's it. The bottom is in. But I will say, I do think that a lot of people have been extremely bearish lately, and we've been seeing so much FUD out there in the streets. Like, for an example, this post here. So I saw this post yesterday, and I really could not, I just couldn't even imagine writing this. Like, I don't know what was going through Justin's head or what, but he said, we must reject all centralized blockchains. This includes Ripple, Canton, Stellar, Hedera, and Algorand. Now, right off the rip, I could just stop reading this after he mentions Ripple instead of XRP. Because again, Ripple and XRP are not the same thing. This is like one of the biggest misconceptions in the space. But if this guy has been a full-time crypto researcher since 2013, he would know that Ripple and XRP are completely different things. So right off the rip, I think that this guy's an idiot. But regardless of that, centralization is not the future of finance. Requiring permission from an authority is not decentralized. Do not be fooled by their lies, as the truth will set us free. Ripple has a unique node list, which makes the validators effectively permissioned, as any divergence from the centrally published list would cause a fork, effectively giving Ripple Foundation and company absolute power and control over the chain. And then, of course, we have Canton. The validator said it's totally permissioned. Stellar, a similar setup to XRP, except that they called a recommended tier 1 organizations, which is published by the Stellar Development Foundation. However, just like XRP, a high overlap is required, or you risk forking off the network, effectively putting the power in the hands of the list creator. And then he says that the Hedera validator set is totally permissioned. I think that he means that all of the names are tied back to like Web 2 and TradFi names. However, they are fully decentralized. They're decentralized by every single step of the way, by, the company type, what industry they're in, the location of the companies. I mean, it's just ridiculous that we have these arguments still today. Then he also mentions Algorand, the relay nodes, and Algo are still, totally permissioned. And like all of this stuff is just nonsense. I guarantee you that this guy is probably trying to push, Bitcoin or some stupid idea around, what blockchain to use. But we look at the whole breakdown here, and the main thing that we're seeing here is the fact that he thinks that these blockchains don't use proof of stake or proof of work because by definition they use POA or proof of authority. And again, like I just can't help but to think that like this guy's an absolute idiot because again, when we think about just some of these networks, if you do a little bit of research, I mean like 5 minutes of research. Again, this guy's a full-time researcher since 2013. 5 minutes of research would, completely debunk all of this. Now, David Schwartz did respond back, and he said, effectively given the Ripple Foundation and company absolute power and control over the chain, this is as objectively nonsensical as claiming someone with a majority of mining power can create 1 billion Bitcoins. And he goes, I did not claim that XRP can create new supply. They cannot steal funds either, but they could potentially double spend and censor, which again is exactly the same if someone controlled the majority of mining power in Bitcoin. How about we do a live debate together on a podcast? And that's exactly what it's, what this is all about. Trying to get him onto his podcast, trying to get more clicks and views. This is all around engagement. He got 238,000 views on this. See, engagement goes both ways. Listen, you could be extremely bullish on XRP and calling for $10,000 per XRP. You can get clicks and views. Or you could go the opposite route and you could talk down on XRP and get all of the, engagement from Bitcoin maxis or other chains that hate XRP or hate Canton or Stellar or Hedera or even Algo. We have down here because he did say, all of this nonsense. He goes, that's just not true. XRP Ledger and Bitcoin don't work the same. You count the number of validators that agree with your node, and your node will not agree to double spend or censor unless you, for some reason, wanted to. If a validator tried to double spend or censor on an honest node, or an honest node would just count as one validator that did not agree with. Validators could conspire to halt the chain from the point of view of honest nodes, but that's the XRP ledger equivalent of a dishonest majority attack, except they never get to double spend. The cure is to pick a new UNL. Just as with Bitcoin, you'd need to pick a new mining algorithm. And this is just basically picking a new validator. The practical evidence tells this story. Transactions are discriminated against all the time in Bitcoin. Transactions are maliciously reordered or centered all the time on Ethereum. Nothing like this has ever happened to an XRP ledger transaction, and it's hard to imagine how it could. It may be helpful to explain how the XRP ledger solves the double spend problem. One more time. Now, I'm not going to go over all of this because it's basically just David Schwartz completely breaking down why this guy's an absolute idiot and why his, research from well over 13 years. Hey, maybe this guy needs to go back to the drawing board or something. I don't know. I mean, 13 years of, research, and this is what you're coming up with, all of this nonsense. I don't know. It makes me laugh when people are like this in this space. I don't understand how you can be bearish on any of these networks. Like, we've been starting to see so much growth within these networks, but again, I've also been seeing so many posts similar to this, and I question like what's going on here. And again, when you look at these names, most of them are just pro Bitcoin. They're all pro Bitcoin names. So, and again, like even here, we have another one that's responding to this. This is a Cardano guy. The Cardano ecosystem has been very negative towards a lot of chains, including, of course, XRP over the years. But almost every single one of these names are extremely pro Bitcoin. Here's another one, right? Cassandra. Don't know who this is, but I'm sure, again, if you go and look at their profile, maybe they support Bitcoin. I don't know. But the main thing that we're looking at here is the confusion remains. Answer me this. Now, again, this got 21,000 views, not as much engagement, obviously. But if we see the first thing here, like I just stopped reading after this. XRP is a centralized token. Other tokens like Bitcoin are decentralized. A vast majority of the 100 billion XRP tokens in supply are held by Ripple. This is wrong. The escrow is not controlled by Ripple. It is in a lockup period. And although, Ripple does hold it, Ripple will not manipulate the market around XRP. They will not be just dumping XRP openly like, everyone has been stating. Yes, they have sold XRP in the past. It's their revenue source. That was their revenue source initially. However, over time, that has changed, especially with the introduction of RLUSD, because now RLUSD can start to create value for them, just the same exact way that USDT creates value for Tether or USDC does for Circle. But when we look at this whole breakdown, again, like all of this stuff is just it's all nonsense. And I think it's because these people are scared of what XRP has done in the past. I mean, listen, XRP is still the third largest cryptocurrency by market cap. I mean, BNB is about $3 billion less. So, again, we're starting to drop down the list as the market does continue to sell off. But I will say this, XRP has done extremely well over the years. But we also have incredible individuals in the space around the XRP ledger, like for an example, vet_x0, who is a validator on the XRP ledger's actual node list. Like he is running a node, he is a validator. When we look at this, right, he mentioned how the XRP ledger is decentralized, open, and permissionless. Like the fact that we have people out here like Vet doing this after years of experiencing all this nonsense from these accounts, you really got to give them, some support, because there's so much FUD out there. Like there's so much nonsense out there that's being pushed to make you guys sell your bags. And it's one of the worst things that's really, happened in this space, where we have all this peak negativity around XRP. I stated it many times over, and I'll continue to state it. And I even made a post regarding it back in the beginning of January. I said, I feel like anyone at this point hating on XRP is either one of the following: has no exposure and is sidelined, is scared of XRP being more successful than their favorite coin, i.e. Bitcoin, is being paid to FUD or distract away from XRP. Many will say this is ridiculous, but if you followed ETHgate, then you know how real it is. Also, there was a document that surfaced around. It was basically a DM that happened between an individual and an unknown name that basically told them, hey, we'll pay $25,000 to FUD XRP and Ripple. And then also 4 is completely uneducated on how powerful the XRP ledger is becoming and how successful the last 2 years alone has been for XRP. And this also goes hand in hand with somebody who's been researching for 13 years that clearly has no idea what they're talking about. And then also number 5, bought the top and is sitting at negative P&L currently. Again, when we think about what's really happening, like just go and read this list. Okay, ETF inflow searching, breaking records, one of the best performing cryptos over the last 5 years, institutional adoption starting to pick up, ledger improvements constantly being pushed, native lending protocol coming this year, native smart contracts coming soon, institutional DeFi portal being developed by Ripple, RWA plus stablecoin volume / value continues to surge, DeFi expansion plus adoption constantly growing. I mean, at this point, like I don't see how anyone could look at XRP and say, yeah, XRP sucks. XRP has done tremendously well and continues to do so. And with all these major expansions, I would argue that we're probably going to start to see a lot more posts like this. Because again, these people in the space, they can't support any other chain that's not Bitcoin. It's insane to me. But at the end of the day, hey, when XRP is outperforming most of the market, again, because I do believe that XRP will, you're going to start to see a flood on X regarding how bad XRP is, how big of a scam it is, this, that, whatever. But at the end of the day, we already know what we hold. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out, guys.
Transactions are quick, RM status and status and sent to invoice. But from last 2 days,
So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and super chat. And as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous. It's your main man, BTM, signing out. And look for us this evening with a Zubik update. Peace and hair grease. Miners out. Peace out.